Let me tell you about my favorite assignment that was also the worst boss. So I feel like temping can be really hit or miss. I'm looking to do it again now, as a matter of fact, because I'm having a career change. But anyway, this one was both a hit and a miss. I was sent out as an executive assistant, and the position was just to cover someone's leave. Like, it was not a temp to hire, it was purely temp. So there wasn't any big pressure about that. And then also the company was getting ready to move to a different part of town that I didn't want to drive to every day. So I also wasn't trying to get my foot in the door or angle for a different position within the company. I was supporting a vice president of this division, and his job was to kind of shift over and get this company into the global e-commerce marketplace. I know for younger folks, it probably feels really weird, like the world just wasn't suddenly all online and suddenly always in part of this marketplace. It was kind of gradual, and some of the bigger, older companies, it took them a little minute to want to really buy in. So I'm always supporting these two guys, and the vice president is hardly ever in the office. I'm always putting him on a plane to London or Rome, or he's got to be at some meeting, so he is hardly ever there. And then the other guy that's with him is there a little bit more, but basically since I was only supporting the two of them, I only needed to be there if they needed something. And then the rest of the time, there wasn't any figure out something to do. It was my time. The only time I was basically there on call when they needed somebody. That was the good part, because when he was there, he drove me crazy. You ever look at some high-level executives and you try and figure out how in the hell they have their jobs? That was this guy. So the other guy in the department basically did all his work for him, and then he took home the six-figure salary and all the credit for it. But keep in mind, I'm sending him all over the world to work on this global e-commerce thing. The E as in, computers. He knew nothing about computers. He calls me into his office one day and he says, "My printer's flashing A4. Why is it doing that? I hate it. Fix it." Another day he called me into his office to yell at me because I had sent him a Word document and there were all these squiggles in the document. The squiggles were proper names he didn't have saved in his computer, but he didn't even know what squiggles on a Word document meant. And again, maybe not everyone knows this, but the vice president in charge of e-commerce should know this. One day he calls me from London. He says, "Apparently I have voicemail, and apparently I need to get it because some guy in a meeting with wants me to get something out of my voicemail that he left on it." I had to call a service provider and give them all kinds of documentation to prove I was who I said I was so that I could get his password reset so he could check his voicemail. But when he wasn't there, they didn't care what I did with my time as long as I was available when he called me. Best worst assignment ever.